Hey, what's up? It's Kit time for another video. Today we're talking about JDM pricing, essentially, okay? And why I believe a lot of people are I don't know, spreading rumors that the JDM market in 2026 will open. And I'm like, when I heard this, and it's not just one person telling me this. Apparently, when they went to ICAST, they've heard several people actually say that the JDM market is going to open up. And I was like, what? Let's see, the fact that people like me have stuff like this, and this is just a small bunch, and mind you, there are a lot of people around the region here in the Middle East, okay, of all places, the Middle East. We use JDM, and we've done so for the past, I don't know, more than 10 years. The US is actually late to the party, okay? And then they're saying that the JDM market will open up. It has been open for more than 10 years, guys. Okay? It's the reason why we have, stuff here. And guess what? We're early adapters of their type of fishing. Okay? And the US is playing catch up. Whether that's the truth or not, or whether a lot of people would want to believe it or not, that the US is like freaking behind. Okay? And in my discussion with KD, in what do you call this, in a video that we published, it's like 2 hour discussion about just us chatting really. But in there I actually said that there's one other friend who actually said that, oh, they're 10 years late, and the truth cannot be farther from what he says, because he is so in tune with the US market because of his business. And he couldn't even believe what I was telling him. And I was telling him that, dude, slow jigging is picking up in the States. And he's like, they're late, 10 years late. Okay. So why though? That's the question. Okay. See, the thing is, I'm going to explain how businesses actually operate in Japan. And, after this whole thing, you decide on whether it could happen for the States or not. All right. So let's start with how a company is formed. Okay. So in Japan, let's say if you have an idea, okay, or how products are born, not companies. Okay. So how products are born. So let's say I have an idea. And I go like, literally, this can be done. Okay. And I can even mention the company that you could do it with. Like, take, for example, I have an idea for a jig or a lure. So I go, okay, I want this lure. It's a drawing, or, I have a prototype. Then I go to Blueing Hearts. And then I'll tell Ito-san, like, Ito-san, can you mass produce this for me? I want this shape. I want this lure. But I want to do this, and that. And then he will go, Kit-san, no problem. We can do this. I'll help you. This is what our company does. And I do an OEM deal with them. Now, as soon as he produces this, he gives me a prototype. I test it out. And then I go, okay, this is great. Now, let's do several sizes. And then where can I go to sell them? Okay. And then he goes, no problem. Guess what? We're working with this company, and this company can distribute for you. Okay. So we go to company U. Okay. YU. So we go to company YU, and then I will say, like, I will give up a percentage of the cost of this. So, like, take, for example, this costs $5. I'll give you 40% discount on the cost of this. Okay. So company U will go and tell its customers and say, like, listen, I'll give you a 30% discount on this new product. Okay. And give me your orders. So basically, company U has a network of tackle shops all over Japan. and um, they will sell. That's all they do. They will sell. Okay. So what happens is that if company U is actually big enough, what they will do is pre-order everything. They will contact all their tackle shops, and then they will go like, how many from you, what color, and all this. Okay. Year in and year out, what's going to happen is that they will have data on exactly what the order is for these tackle shops all over Japan. And then they would have a figure to tell me as the owner of this lure. And then they'll tell me like, listen, we'll order this much. Okay. So I tell Blueing Hearts, I go, Ito-san, we need to make like this many. Okay. And then I am also going to sell on my own, so give it like, 500 pieces, whatever, let's say. So I have 400 that I give to company U, and then I have 100 to sell on my own. Okay. And then company U would sell to everyone. Now, it just so happens that there's also some guys overseas that see that I have this awesome lure and I want to get it. So guess what? They tell me because I am, posting socials and everything. And what's going to happen? I'm going to tell them like, listen, go talk to company U. Okay. And these guys are from, let's say, Italy. Go talk to company U. And then company U will actually tell them like, listen, this is the price. I'm going to give you 30% off. Okay. Remember that I gave them 40. It could be that I gave them 40 off for this. Okay. 40% of my cost. So they're paying like 60%. So what happens is that they're going to have to make money off of that, and they're not going to give you 30%, let's say. Okay. They're probably going to say like, I'll give you 25%. It depends. But if you're buying in bulk, then they'll say like, okay, maybe we'll give you 5% more, and then, you get it at 30%. Now, guess what? In America, this doesn't work because a lot of people there are doing either terms. Okay. So they, 30 days payable or whatever. And they do map pricing, and that doesn't happen for this. Now, remember that if you are company YU, okay, you're literally the guy in charge of the selling. And me, as the designer or the brand owner, will go with you. And guess what? These relationships last for years and years on end. If I started with this company and they distributed to like majority of the tackle shops in Japan, I'm not gonna tell like buyers to go somewhere else, because I am assured each and every single year that they are going to order from me. It's as simple as that. Now, if you are, let's say, a new a tackle shop in the States, okay, you don't even know that there are these buying houses, okay? And when you contact them, they're holding so many brands, by the way. So you contact one of these guys, they'll hold like a lot of brands, even the major ones like Daiwa and Shimano, all those. And these companies love working with them because it's less of a headache. So they're not going to do the exporting on their own. Number one, these companies, like take for example the guys that like make these, like in my example, me, all right, I want to concentrate on developing products, and I want to concentrate on making them available. I'm not going to concentrate or take the time to actually sell, because guess what? I'm not good at selling. actually good at designing, and then I'm gonna go to a company, Bluing Hearts. In this example, I'm gonna go to Bluing Hearts because guess what? That guy is an expert in producing these things. Okay. Now in the States, it's kind of different because, like, take for example, for Pure Fishing, they have their own factories, they have their own sales and marketing people, and then they distribute themselves like a big corporation does, right? But in Japan, these are small to medium scale companies, and their main concern is to sell through other people. Because guess what? They're not experts in selling. Most of them are not even experts at communication. You know, it's only fairly recently where they're hiring English speakers. But most of the time, you won't find English speakers in that company because guess what? They deal with a company that specializes in selling. And these guys are the ones that have English speakers, and they're the ones that know how to speak business, know how to deal with other people, and all this. So the Japanese, they specialize on, selling or making or designing and stuff like that. So before a product actually turns up in a shop, it passes through different places like a trading house. Okay. Now, not all brands do this. If it's big enough, they could do it on their own, or some brands actually band together and sort of act like a trading house. Okay, so it may take, and this is it's kind of a loose thing. It's not super formal. Okay, so it could be that they have a good relationship with this one company, and then they have a minor relationship with this one company, and guess what? These two companies would compete for like YU company and then SU company, let's say, one brand would have two guys working for them to sell, and they would compete in the market, but they would never compete in the same area. So like, take for example, one guy would have one part of the country, the other guy would have like the other half. But outside of Japan, it could be that in one country, the northern part, one guy would actually have a contact there. And then the company themselves would actually say, like, I don't want anyone else to sell except for this guy. And then the YU company, okay, if they're the ones that actually got to the country first, depending on their performance, they would be the ones exclusively dealing with that market. So like, take for example, you have YU company. They were the first ones to actually reach the Middle East here in the UAE. Okay. And then one brand, like take for example, Decoy. Decoy, some other agents are actually, or people actually express their willingness to get Decoy, but Decoy would say like, no, deal with this. And that's it. Now, there are other avenues, of course, because, it could be that there are some sellers, like take, for example, in Thailand, that they re-export everything. So they're getting it at, let's say, 20%, and they take 5 and they give 15 as discount. So you get here, and then the guy makes like 5%, and then the 10 he could give as a wholesale discount. It's the same thing in the States, right? So, but a lot of people, like big companies, they don't want to deal with that small a discount. So they want, or they're demanding for it to be worth it to actually go straight to the companies and act like the trading houses themselves. Now, some companies are okay with that, but a lot of companies are not. So companies that have their own thing, like take for example Daiwa and Shimano, they have subsidiaries within, like, different countries and stuff. But for small and medium scale companies, they would rather actually go through a buying house because it not only secures them, they make sure that the volumes, the brand management, and all this is being taken care of by that one company. So um, I don't know where these guys actually said that it's gonna open up in 2026, because at the end of the day, it is already open. Okay, and unless uh, there's someone that actually starts a company in the states and goes around Japan looking for these small to medium scale companies and actually saying that, hey, I want to be your distributor in the states. This is like what I can do for you, which is not going to be easy. Okay, so unless someone actually does that, they're not going to get the pricing that they want. And the Japanese companies, they're never going to agree to closeouts. And guess what? In the states, they're doing that. There's like a crap load of companies that actually liquidate stocks. That breaks the brand. Okay, there are certain companies in the U.S. that buy in Japan. Okay, there's one in California. Buy in Japan, all these brands. There's I guess there's a local company that buys from them, for them. They load it up in a container, they take it to the states, and then they sell them. And then if they don't sell, because they need the money to be flipped really fast, if they don't sell, everything goes on sale. And guess what? Um, the brand actually loses out. And I know a few of these brands, and man, it's a headache for them. But guess what? It's not good. It's not good for the brand. It's not good for the market. And it's at the end of the day, these sort of businesses is actually what ultimately will tell the Japanese not to do business with the companies in the States. Because guess what? It degrades their brand and they don't like that. So I don't know where these people actually get their information about it's gonna open up. Guys, it's been open. It's just that the business. I believe that businesses in the states like tackle shops would be able to deal with these buying houses, and then they can get like a decent price more than a corporation would kind of make like the profit that they want, because guess what, it's not going to happen. Okay, that's one. And two, the philosophies and how these products are made are entirely different. And this is what prohibits, this is the biggest stumbling block, I believe, for JDM in the States. It's the fact that a lot of people there don't really know how to use gear. Okay, there's a lot of people there that would say like American gear lasts longer than JDM. The lines are tougher, the rods. So guess what, that's the reason why these what do you call this, these American gear is made like that, because a lot of people don't know how to use the gear properly. They manhandle the things. I mean, all you have to do is just go to a party boat and see exactly how they're using things, and guess what, and imagine, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would know what I'm talking about here. Boat rash. There's no such thing as boat rash. It's the freaking deckhands manhandling your gear. Brand new gear, and then if you don't take your gear when you're about to travel back home, guess what? They're just gonna bunch it up, put it up front, wash all the gear up for you. That's a disservice to your gear. It's not only the owners that are manhandling the gear. It's also like the staff in the what do you call this, in the party boats. So that's kind of like, it's like standard in the US. But guess what, Japanese gear, they're not fragile. They are performance gear. Okay, so they're tuned for specific techniques that are used in Japan, that are being forcefully adopted by people outside of Japan. It just so happens that the Japanese techniques and the Japanese gear are just superior, and then the techniques that they come up with are based on a fishery that's difficult to catch fish. So the gear that they put out, guess what? It works because it has to. Whereas in the States, the gear has to stand up to the abuse of the people, because if it doesn't, the company actually loses money. Guess what? Returns and exchanges in the States. Okay, this is why you can't return JDM. There's no warranty for JDM because the whole mentality and the parts servicing and all that, it's not only that. Okay, it's the fact that there are reels designed for the US market, designed for the warranties and exchange programs of these companies locally. The JDMs, the companies that make them themselves, they have a different policy. Okay, more than likely because of the highest, very high standard that they have in manufacturing. Errors in manufacturing are very, very small and negligible. So if it breaks, it's not going to be the manufacturing process. More than likely, if not very likely, it would be the misuse of the equipment. Okay, so it's just like that. So for companies in the States to actually make money, they make their gear first and foremost almost unbreakable. How it's used for fishing and how it catches fish is not the priority. The priority is, and will always be, make stuff that don't break. And guess what? Since the US is always aiming for critical mass when it comes to selling, meaning you have to sell a lot. This is why you have overstock. Okay, so in the US, businesses often overstock because when the demand comes, it's there. And guess what? Majority of the time when they produce things, it's actually on the cheap. In Japan, it's not. It's always going to be like the highest quality, the highest manufacturing, and all that. In this US, kind of takes a back seat. They maximize profits, and that's just how business works. And it's kind of a different way of doing things, ultimately to earn money. Now, I'm not gonna say that the US stuff doesn't work, because they do, for whatever purpose that they are made for. However, this is the reason why Japanese gear are just better than average. Okay, and then how they're sold and how they're priced and how the business there works, it's different. Okay, and different concerns for different people, different gear, different folks, different strokes. Alrighty, so hopefully this gives you an insight of how things work, and this is the reason why the pricing is never going to be cheap. Okay, two different philosophies, two different approach on business. Okay, two very different thought processes, and that's that. Now, the market for JDM has always been open. The problem is the US, and it's not able to adapt to the Japanese way of doing things. That's it, and that is it. Now there are the tariffs, and from what I heard from a very reliable source, the US is putting a 50% tariff on aluminum. And guess what these reels are made of? So expect the prices to go even higher. So here's the thing. If the prices on reels are going high, and Shimano just increased 14%, by the way. So if, all of these, especially with the US, they're levying a lot of tariffs on all of these like aluminum made goods. It's not going to get cheaper. Okay? And the JDM market has been opened. I don't know what they're talking about in 2026. It's a few months off, so we'll see what's going on. But this is the reason why it's like that. Alrighty? Hopefully I wasn't confusing and that things are clear. If you have questions or you want to discuss more things uh, about this, drop them in the comment section. And usual stuff, guys. Like, subscribe, share. Okay. To those guys that have not subscribed yet, subscription, very, very important. And to help the channel go forward, membership's the way to go. And I would like to thank the members, both old and new. New guys, welcome. And I have member exclusive videos. This is actually supposed to be a member exclusive video, but I just thought that, probably something that wider audience would benefit from. So that's that. But there's a lot of exciting things that are going to happen pretty soon. That's it for this video. Again, thank you very much for the members, and for the new ones, welcome. Alrighty, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.